Today's project's a mixed media canvas based on Rosie the Riviter. It was a commissioned piece for someone I work for as a birthday gift. So I have gathered all my ephemera and paper, and I'm going to use decoupage to glue down the paper. This is all sort of 50s vintage inspired colors. And a lot of this will end up getting covered up and just be peeking out here and there. I didn't paint the sides of the canvas. Just trying to make sure that I've got glue both on the paper and on the canvas also, so that I don't have that many air spots. And right now I'm not worried about my edges. I'm just laying everything down. And I tried to repeat the patterns and bring over some of the bolder prints. Alright, so now I'm just folding back the edges and mitering some of the corners. Alright, so now I am adding the top layer of some of the ephemera. It's basically some vintage ads, ration cards, those kinds of things that had that World War II feel. And I'm just using a little gift card to push out any air bubbles. And this is a copy of a love letter written from a soldier to his wife. It was the ads, especially this Victory Garden ad and the one up in the corner, that kind of dictated the colors and confirmed what I wanted to use paper-wise. So I got a little tear there when I was trying to get the air bubble out, but I just went with it. It's a telegram announcing the bombing at Pearl Harbor. Tickets from the Hollywood Canteen. And here's Rosie. I've just cut her out of white scrapbook paper, and I'll lay down her clothes that are cut out of scrapbook paper, and then when she's dry, I'll come in with Pitt India ink markers. This is my quote. I printed on a paint chip, and I noticed when I started to coat it down that the ink smeared. So what I decide to do is I'm going to dry it a little bit, and then I'm going to spray it with some triple thick and let that coating dry. I'm adding sewing tissue from a pattern. I just wanted to get some texture. This was kind of a last minute decision, so you'll see that this third piece I'm kind of moving around, deciding where I want to put it, where it fits. Alright, now I'm ready to paint her. So I'm starting with a couple of different browns, a walnut brown and a nougat brown for the shoes. Unfortunately, because of the size of the canvas, I couldn't zoom closer and get all of her in. And now I'm using like a denim blue to do her overalls. With the pip markers over the gel medium, you have a few minutes to move it around so you can kind of shadow and blend it. So you'll see me use the marker and then rub it out and then come back to the same spot. So I'm building up the layers, adding that shadow, which gives you the folds and the 3D effect. If you don't like what you have, you can use a baby wipe and wipe it off completely within a few minutes. If it's dried, then it's permanent. Sometimes I just use the white paper, but a lot of times I'll use scrapbook paper so I can start with a color for the background or a pattern. So here you see I had gotten some black on the arm, so I just wiped it back off and started over again. I'm blending a light flesh and a medium flesh. I'm just now drying the coat of Mod Podge. I like to put in some layers of Mod Podge just so that it protects as I go in and add layers and build. Just keeps it from losing the color or the pigment. And so now I'm using a cinnamon and I'm sketching in some of the features on the face. And it's really more of a suggestion at this size a lot of times. Working in her hair and her bandana, the head scarf. Working on darkening the bandana. And then what I'm going to do in a few minutes is use a white paint marker but this red that I'm using is not permanent, so I'm kind of wanting to gloss it over before I go into the next layer. So I had to add back one of her eyebrows that smeared and darken her hair a little bit, adding some more to her face. And I'm just using some white paint marker just to get the illusion of a bandana print Then coming back with a little bit of the black dots. Just adding sort of finishing details on her face, giving her a little bit more shadows here and there. And then I'm using a dark cold gray to add some drop shadows in, just to set her off from the page. And I'm going to give her one more last coat of the decoupage gel medium and dry her really good. And now I'm adding Deco Arts Duraclear Gloss, and I'm just working it back and forth, trying to remove some of the excess and minimize. Switched brushes a couple different times just to try to soften the lines. And I'll let that dry, and that is it. Thanks for watching.